How's it, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's me, the South African Wanderer, and as promised, this is the follow-up video to the video I did on Monday, where I told you guys that I've switched from Premiere Pro to DaVinci Resolve. Just one follow-up from that video. PJ reminded me that there is a totally free version of DaVinci Resolve available. You just go to the, I think it's Blackmagic website, or search for DaVinci Resolve 18, and you'll get to a download page. And instead of downloading DaVinci Resolve Studio, you just download DaVinci Resolve, which is the free version. There are some limitations to that version. I think you can't export in 4K, so it's only HD videos that you can export, and you can't import more than 8-bit video. So I think then you'll have to change the way you film stuff before importing it in, but that saves you that $300 or 6,500 Rand for the license fee. And if you're just starting off, maybe that's a good version to get into, just to see if it works for you, and whether it's something that you can figure out and work out. So today's video is going to be just a simple walkthrough. I thought about doing the video I did on Monday as the edit, but that's a little bit of a simplistic edit in that it's just one video clip that you then just cut up. So what I'm going to do is walk you through one of the videos I did for my mom. So we'll use that because it's got multiple segments, and then maybe you can see how that works a little bit better than if we just had one long video that we were just cutting. So we're going to start off by opening up DaVinci Resolve. Don't mind my desktop, it's rather cluttered. So what you'll see when you open up the DaVinci Resolve page or app is that all the previous videos that we've done are there, but we want to do a new project, so we'll just go new project and name it butter chicken pasta, and then we create that. So when you're installing DaVinci Resolve, it asks for a location to save videos. So the video is initially just saved, wherever your working file is. I use my C drive on my laptop because that's the faster memory. It's SSD memory, so it works a little bit faster. So you'll see that this is your almost landing page. It's called the cut page. And then there's a media page. You don't have any media in, but you can inspect your media a little bit better on there. The cut page, I think, is the landing page by default. I'm not too sure how you change that. I don't use the cut page, so we won't really talk about that. But what I do is then import the clips into this page. So then to import some video clips, you can go into File and Import Media, and then search for your media there that way. But how I do it is just go in, select the clips that we're going to be using, as well as this picture, which will be part of the video, and then drag and drop it into your media pool. So once you drag that media on, it says change project frame rate. So normally your project frame rate will be set either to 24 frames or 30 frames. And if you've got media that then does not match that, it will ask you, whether you want to change the project frame rate. I usually just say change. I think I'm recording on 24 frames per second, and the project frame rate is 30 frames, so it just changes that up for us. So now you've got your media in your media pool, so that's all the media that you're going to use for this video. And what I normally then do is hop into the edit tab, or the edit workspace. So you still then have all your media pool here, and then I've got, because I've been working with DaVinci already, I've got some effects that I keep open. So your video transitions, your titles, and then I've got some favorites here on the side as well. So then I think to show you, if you click on your video import, you can bring it into your source screen. So this is your source screen at the moment, so it can play the source.
And here I have 3 small tomatoes which are grated.
And you can inspect the source, you know, how it plays, and see how it's working. But what I would do is, because I film sequentially, I'll just select all the clips and drag them to the timeline. So now you'll see you can split that, so you can view your source as you were viewing it, and you can view your timeline, which will be sort of the video that you edit as you go along. So I think just one word here. So the timeline is the video edit that you're going to be doing. So it's going to include all your cuts, all your color corrections, all your audio corrections, and if you add in any animation, etc., that's on your timeline, and you can then work on it's your working space almost. So what I like to do, because I'm not going to be looking at the source clips in terms of detail, is then just click on this single viewer mode. So now I'm only viewing my timeline, because this is going to be my working space. If you're having issues where the playback is slow, you can go to the playback tab, and you can enable proxies, which then makes a smaller version of your clip and plays that back while you're working on it. Or the other thing you can do is, in the playback tab, is change your proxy resolution. So at the moment it's full. You can go to half or even a quarter, and then the quality that it displays on your screen is lower resolution, and therefore allows the video to play a little bit better. So if you're having problems, viewing the video itself, you can then change that. So once you're in the timeline, before doing anything else, what I like to do is go into your Fairlight workspace, which is your audio workspace, and I then do some global adjustments. So the first thing I do is adjust the overall global audio level down, because otherwise it's too loud and too peaky. And then what DaVinci allows you to do is voice isolation. So you turn that on, and then you can dial how much of voice isolation you want. I'm going to do about 35%. So I've been working with this, and that's what the settings I use are. So that's about as much voice and audio adjustments I make at the moment. The other tabs here are your Fusion tab. This is now for any special effects you want to add, it's not a tab that I use, and as a beginner, I don't think you'll be using that much. And then your color grading tab. So this is a tab that you can use to adjust color. And now this is your master timeline, so you're going to do global adjustments again. And this may look a little bit strange, but if you go into color wheels, then you see, there's your normal color wheels that you may be used to using. So shadow, midtone, highlights, offset, that's what the log settings are. If you go in, the default setting is primaries. So lift, gamma, gain, and offset. So what I do is actually use the log setting, so the shadow, midtone, highlights, because I'm more familiar with that from Lightroom and Photoshop. And you can then adjust the image accordingly. For instance, on this one, I would possibly raise the shadows and then increase some saturation, change the hue a little bit if I wanted to. So again, that's a global adjustment that will be applied to all of the clips. Okay, so then going back to your edit workspace. So this is where I work generally. So once I've done my fairlight or audio correction and my color correction, I then work primarily in this workspace. So as you can see, the video is now ready to start off, but with my mom's videos, I normally put in an image and a title page. So let me show you how to do that. So here's the image I want to use, just as the landing image. So what I'll do is just do the two views again. So you're seeing a source window and the timeline window, and then dragging from the source onto the timeline, you can then insert that, and that video there, and then that picture then gets inserted into your timeline, and you'll see it's inserted before the video clip starts. And then you can go back to your single view. So then now your image is in your timeline and your videos all proceed after that. And then if you want to put a title in, you go to titles and you choose sort of the title that you want in. I've actually got a title that works for me, so I've made it a favorite, and I'll just drag that in. So it has an upper, a lower, and a line separating the two. And then on the edit page, if you want to go into any specific item, you click on the item and go into inspector, and then you can change things like your title. So this is going to be making butter chicken pasta, and you can change the font size, make it smaller, bigger, adjust it, and then you can go here and give it a subtitle, and this one is going to be a delicious variation on our butter chicken recipe. Again, adjust the font spacing and then just the color on the line. So it's all intuitive stuff, as you can see. So then you go into your timeline and you can play your timeline and start editing. All right. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so I cue my mom up when I'm doing videos. So that initial cue or checkerboard needs to come out. So then you use your razor tool, which is your cut tool, and then you can delete selected or ripple delete selected. So ripple delete means that everything on the timeline gets moved in, and that space is actually covered up almost. So then I will then go through and edit,
Hello, welcome to my channel. Today is a very cold day in Joburg.
So I'll listen to my mom speak and edit the video, to a length that I require it to, cutting out any mistakes or, any extra bits that need to be removed, or where we had to repeat stuff or, lay over certain shots on top of one another. I'll go through and do that. I think when you editing your timeline, you can develop your own style almost of how you edit your stories. And you'll see at the moment, if you zoom out on the timeline, the total time is about 12 minutes and 50. I think once I edit a video like this for my mom's, it should be about 8 minutes or just over 8 minutes for the video. And I'm just going to leave it unedited for now, and we'll get to the end. So, the last clip is just a product shot almost of the pasta. And you can see I'll just need to cut out all the shakiness and things like that. I was probably trying to do some funny maneuvers with my gimbal at this point, trying to get a sort of a hover look on the image itself. Had to do it a couple of times. So let's just say we cut that, out again and ripple delete all the stuff we don't need. And then we've got our product shot sort of in there, probably up to that point, and then cut it out. And then the image itself we've used already, just gets added to the end when you select all and add it in. So we'll delete that as well. So then that's the end of the video. And then we normally end off with my mom's logo in the video. So at the end, that's how we roll logo. So that one you can either drop in as media or just bring in and drop directly onto your timeline. The good thing about DaVinci is it sizes the image correctly for the timeline that you're using. So if you're using 4K 16 by 19 video image, DaVinci Resolve just brings that in as 16 by 19. And then we'll just add a thank you at the end. Again, we go into Inspector, change the text to thank you. And then that's your thank you note. And one thing I think I need to mention with DaVinci is you can then, you have these sort of tabs on each of the clips, even on the images and stuff. And what you can do is you can move these tabs around, and that's almost a fade in of that particular item. So if we then play, you can see that fades in, and then at the end will fade out again. So you're creating your own fade in, fade out. But you can achieve all of that with your video transitions, your dissolve, your cross dissolve, your additive dissolve, etc. By just putting that in, you dip to black if you want to. So we'll just then stop. We won't edit this video, but let's say, assuming now the video is edited and it's how we want it, you then go into the deliver workspace, and you give it the option to render the video how you want it. So you can set this up, going through the different settings, or you can go in and do like YouTube 2160p is 4K for YouTube. So this is the almost custom setting that I've already been using, and we'll go and we'll title this butter chicken pasta 1, and we'll find the location, which was this folder, 15th of May. And then it's ready to render. So you add to the render queue. And then you can go through and quickly render all. So then you can watch the render if you want to, and you can see, because we don't have significant edits with titles and stuff, this is just a straightforward video that it's putting together. The render time is just over 3 minutes for a what is YouTube HD video. For what is YouTube 4K video, and it will just work through that render very quickly, even on my laptop, which is not the most powerful computer. So I'm just going to stop the render quickly and then talk about a few quirks I found when editing. So coming through from Premiere Pro, I think one of the things I found that's a little bit unnerving for me, or a little bit janky on how the program works, is if you using the scroll, trying to scroll, it's not very precise. So you could end up, at a point in the video where you don't really want to be, even if you're trying to be more precise. You can zoom in and out and find your way around that way, but for some reason, whatever reason that is, we went from 6 minutes into the video to the start of the video now, and it's a little bit hard to get used to that. And then one of the other things I miss is, if for whatever reason I had cut a video and then I moved forward by playing, you can't step back frame by frame. You have to play it and let it play. Whereas Premiere Pro lets you go 1 frame forward, 1 frame back, and just navigate that way, which I got used to, but I have to work my way out. You can go to the beginning of the clip where you made the cut, and that's one way to navigate, by using these arrows here. And then you can also use the jog wheel forward and backwards, but I don't really use that. I just move the red cursor here. So navigating the timeline for me is just a little bit of something that I need to work on. So then the other thing that almost I need to get used to, is different from Premiere Pro, is retiming clips. So you can go on this and say retime control, and then just change this to I don't know, 400%. What that then does is it does leave a little bit of a gap, but you can then ripple delete that gap. Let's undo that. And you can take out that speed control out, but you can also then change clip speed, change the speed here, and ripple timeline. That's very similar to Premiere Pro. If you go to 200%, so then that's speeding it up by 2 times, and then changing, then it ripples the rest of the timeline automatically. So I must get used to having 2 different time controls almost. And then the other thing I struggle with is on the titles, your titles aren't very, well, for me, coming from Premiere Pro, they don't really work as well, I think, or there's not as much choice almost in your titles and things like that. So, it's there are a few options, but I think I've had to work around a little bit. If you delete that. So, for instance, one of the things I do is label the ingredients on my mom's videos, and you just want a small text there. And to do that, I've had to use this text, which then has a title and then the text. So, each time I'm deleting the title and then writing in here, I don't know, fresh cream, half cup. And then, yeah, that's your label. And yeah, I don't know, it just, the options given don't really give just a simple text on screen. I'll have to figure out how to do that more effectively, I think. So yeah, that's a simple walkthrough, of DaVinci Resolve, and hopefully that helps you if you're just getting started off. It's a little bit not all very intuitive. It's intuitive to me because I've come from Premiere Pro, so I know how to work with the timeline, how to cut and edit a timeline, and I got quite good at it. Speed up clips, change clips, overlay clips, and put in images and move them around so there's a picture in picture almost. And it's all tricks I need to now relearn for DaVinci Resolve and learn how to work with them in this new program. But why it's easier for me is I've come from a space where I've used a similar program before, and it's therefore almost second nature, and some stuff I have to unlearn to do so that I can do it more, do it the way DaVinci wants it done. So the curve is a little bit bumpy, let me say. So it's not a very steep curve because for me, I've done it before, but it's bumpy because unlearning stuff is sometimes harder than learning new stuff almost. What I do is watch a lot of video tutorials on YouTube as well. If I need to know specific things, like how do I edit my sound better, things like that, I then go watch a video and eventually I start bringing them into my videos as well as I edit them. So yeah, hopefully this helps and is something you can use if you are thinking about DaVinci Resolve, whether it's the free version or the paid version. Like I said earlier on in the video, there are a couple limitations to the free version. So consider what works best for you. But yeah, we're going to sign off and then hopefully get away this weekend and have some new content for you next week.